What the f? If you haven't picked up on this already, this is going to be a Kenneth Copeland video. He's going through a pretty rough spot right now with the broadcasting network that hosts his show, so let's see what's going on. Before we get into it, I just want to mention a couple of things. If you've already heard this before, then skip forward about 30 seconds. Here's a little fun fact for you. If you're on a PC or a Mac, hit the L button 3 times. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check out my Teespring or my Etsy store. I sell all kinds of cool stuff on there. Mostly it's 3D printed game and controller stands, but I also sell some signs to stave away the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I sell these dumpster fire candle holders. I sell green, blue, and black, and I sell plain-faced ones or 2021s. I have a bunch of other stuff on there, so give it a look. I might have something that catches your eye. Okay, with all that being said, let's take a look at the Kenneth Copeland situation. For those of you who might be unfamiliar, Kenneth Copeland is a famous televangelist. He's been around for a very long time. He trained under Oral Roberts himself. Now, I'm sure it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it anyways. I really don't care what religion you are. I don't have any interest in tearing anybody down or anything like that. But when I see extremism and cults popping up, I feel the need to address it. So let's talk about what's going on with Kenneth Copeland right now. I mean, aside from speaking in tongues on stage. He's the talk of the town right now. As Patheos author Barry Duke puts it, he's being replaced by a younger, prettier model. That's right, he's being replaced. It was announced on his Facebook page recently. He'll be replaced by some dude named Stephen Furtick. I'm really hoping this dude is less crazy than Copeland, but I'm not holding my breath. As for the pretty part, I'd say it's nearly impossible to get somebody less attractive than a literal demon like Copeland. It honestly blows my mind to know that there are real people out there who unironically call themselves Christians and who listen to and trust Copeland. The dude is an obvious scam artist. He got hit by the media a while back for buying a private jet from Tyler Perry. When asked to explain himself, he went on a show with Jesse Duplantis where they both defended their private jets together. Let's take a look at what they had to say for themselves.
Got in the plane that God so graciously gave us, and we're flying home. As I was going home, the Lord, real quickly, he said, "Jesse, do you like your plane?" I said, "Well, certainly, Lord." He said, "Do you really like it?" Then he said this, "So that's it?" I didn't know how to handle it. I went, "What?" He said, "You're going to let your faith stagnate?" Now, when he said that, that shocked me. I went, "Whoa, wait." I literally unbuckled my seatbelt, my plane. I stood up. My pilots looked at me and said, "Do you need something?" I said, No, I'm talking to God right now. And he went back to flying.
Yeah, that's probably because he knows you're a complete nutcase. If you're literally hearing voices in your head, then you need to be evaluated by a team of psychologists. That's a problem. Let's continue.
You couldn't have done that on an airliner.
No, sir. No way.
Stand up and say, "What'd you say, Lord?"
No.
Okay, no, yeah. And the guy sitting over there saying, "What the hell does he think he's doing?" You can't do that.
You can't do that.
No.
That's because you'd be identified as the fucking nutcase that you are. Copeland is saying they need private jets because they have to limit the amount of time they spend around normal people, or they'll recognize how fucking insane they are and lock them up for the rest of their lives. For everybody else's safety. Let's keep watching.
That's why we're on that airplane. We can talk to God.
Glory to God. It's true.
It's when I was flying for Oral Roberts, the Brother Deweese, my boss on the airplane, he said, "Now, Kenneth, this is sanctuary. It protects the anointing on Brother Roberts." And he said, "You keep your mouth shut. Don't talk to him unless he talks. Because when he's on a meeting, he doesn't talk to anybody but God."
Honestly, I'd be willing to bet that these people probably aren't hearing voices. If I'm being real, I'm guessing they're pretending to hear voices in their heads. Hearing voices like that is a symptom of a number of mental illnesses, and they don't seem to exhibit any of the other symptoms. I mean, I don't have their medical records in front of me or anything, but I would be willing to bet these people probably don't have schizophrenia, for example. I have a brother with schizophrenia. I know the symptoms well. I don't know, maybe they do. But my bet is that they're pretending pretending to talk to God so they can feel more important than they are. And that's another sign somebody thinks they're more important than they are. When the people around them tell others not to talk to them unless they're spoken to. That's just wrong. And as far as I'm concerned, nobody on the face of this planet is so important that they're too good to speak to others around them. As far as I'm concerned, your level of importance in this world is completely unrelated to whether or not people should talk to you. You just sound like an asshole. I don't know if Copeland wanted to make Oral Roberts seem more righteous with that comment, but it made me respect him even less, surprisingly. Let's continue.
Now, Oral used to fly airlines,
Right.
but even back there then, man, it got to the place where it was agitating his spirit,
Sure.
people coming up to him. He
Right.
had become famous, and they wanting him to pray for him and
Right.
all that. You can't manage that today.
Right.
This dope-filled world,
Right.
and get in a long tube with a bunch of demons,
Right. That's exactly the
and
truth.
it's deadly.
And it works on you hard. It really does.
So anyway, I wanted to make that clear so the devil can't lie to you and say, see there, them preachers spending all that money, just fat cats riding around. No, we're not. We're in business to do.
Wow, okay. Well, I guess we know how he feels about the outside world. I bet he has hype men around him telling others not to talk to him too. So what about me? Should I avoid airplanes too? Why is he the only one who has to worry about demons on airplanes? It's bizarre to me because when I go on an airplane, I don't bother talking to people. I just put some headphones on, sit in my little seat, eat my little airplane pretzels, drink my little airline coffee, and go about my business. I've never felt like I was under direct attack by demons. Does he have to completely avoid public places? Like all public places? This is just an example of the type of mindset this dude has. This is an old clip. It's not like he's been going downhill for a few weeks. This is years old. And seriously, what the fuck is with this guy's face? It's disturbing. There's something wrong here. I guess God wanted your donations to pay for his plastic surgery too. And by the way, just a quick unrelated side note on this guy, he is a massive Trump supporter, and he's even on Trump's Spiritual Advisory Council. This is one of the many reasons why I won't be voting for Trump. He is obsessed with bending over backwards for evangelical nutbags like this guy, just to win votes. I'm not interested in a Christian nationalist country, which is what we're gonna get from him, so he won't be getting my vote. Not now, not ever. Unless he seriously changes who he is fundamentally. But that's beside the point. The point is that he's been kicked off the TV network he's been on for years, even decades. So what happened? Why is he being kicked off now? There isn't a whole lot to go on, but he has had a few scandals recently. He's declared the COVID pandemic over multiple times, like 4 or 5. I've covered it on my podcast every time he's tried it. This is what his Facebook page said. Quote, "This is a big change, but one we're ready for because we understand change. We're exploding with vision. We're experiencing his power, and we've embraced the greatest changes we've ever seen. Change is a good thing because everything that is alive changes in order to grow." Well, that's interesting. Everything that's alive changes in order to grow. In this case, the change is excising you from the movement. Apparently, he's trying to play it off like it's no big deal, like he was on board from the start. So what about his replacement? Who is this dude? His name is Stephen Furtick, and he's been trying to associate himself with Joel Osteen, James McDonald, Ed Young Jr., and other prosperity gospel preachers. Prosperity gospel is universally considered to be a scam, obviously, so they've been criticized for it. He's the leader of a church called Elevation Church. He's actually a very impressive speaker. Let's take a quick glance at their Twitter account. It's mostly small sound bites that are designed to appeal to emotion. Your plan has a purpose. God is bigger than your mistakes. You are not your issues. God sees you through the lens of his grace. Gratitude is the gateway to joy. What's that even mean? It sounds deep, but it's nonsense. Some are meaningless garbage. Some of it's an obvious attempt to get people to invest themselves in religion so they don't have to face reality. All of it is nonsense. Let's take a look at Stephen Furtick's Twitter. Here's a video he posted the other day. It's a prime example of the type of preaching he does.
What if works both ways? The wind was against them. The word was for them. And what if works both ways? So when we get into hypothetical situations.
Wait. What? I am so confused. What is he trying to say? This is like a perfect reflection of the Elevation Church's Twitter account. This is nonsensical. Seriously. What's he trying to communicate? I don't understand. It sounds deep, but it's completely meaningless. This is actually a pretty common propaganda technique. Speak in nonsensical riddles for a while that sound profound, but really aren't. It's called grandiloquence. Another term for it is deepity or platitudes, although deepity has its own definition. The point is that he sounds like he's saying something deep and important, but he really isn't. And that's what makes him such a good communicator. Even when he's spewing complete garbage, he can make the crowd think he isn't.
The longer that we wait on God to change certain situations, and once again, how many are there right now? And maybe you even feel like you're drowning in what you don't know. And you've analyzed it, and there's a certain element of it you can't control. Because the devil didn't start this storm. Jesus sent them directly into it.
He's completely full of shit. There's no substance to what he's saying at all. But here's the catch. When he says something that actually does make sense, the dots connect and it makes you think everything he said up to that point did make sense. And you just weren't smart enough to understand it until he simplified it for you. That's what makes it propaganda. Listen to the next part of his speech and you'll see him do it.
Watch this. Are you awake? What if there's something on the other side that is worth going through the storm for?
Okay, that one started to make sense a little bit. We're almost there. Let's listen to him bring it full circle to make you feel like an idiot while simultaneously making you think he's really deep and profound.
And a lot of times in my life, I've learned that fear is just faith in the wrong what if. So watch this. What if we fail? What if we don't?
And now everything he said up to that point seems really profound. Even though what he was saying was pretty straightforward. He could have just said, people might get pushed back against a plan they're doing. Like maybe they try to open a new business, but their hours get increased at their day job. Well, I guess that means Jesus just didn't want him to take that path. But what if that was actually the devil pushing back, and Jesus really did want me to go through with the plan? Seems like that would have been a way more straightforward way of saying it. But this is the kind of style the dude takes. So anyways, that's who's replacing Kenneth Copeland. As I said, he's said and done some really questionable things, and he's cozied up to some very questionable people, practices, and beliefs. So it remains to be seen how damaging he is generally as the leader of a megachurch. But as far as I'm concerned, using propaganda and spreading lies is inherently harmful, no matter what you're lying about. Anyways, that's all I've got for you. As I said before, if you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check me out on Teespring, or you can check out my Etsy store. I have a store where I sell all kinds of interesting stuff. Mostly it's 3D printed game stands, but I also sell these 2020 dumpster fire candle holders, or just regular dumpster fire candle holders, and I sell these signs. If you want to keep Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons from knocking on your door, put these out front. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't afraid of anything, except for apostates. And you don't have to be an ex-Jehovah's Witness to be an apostate. The term applies to anybody critical of the religion, so if you want to keep them away, then consider getting one of these signs. All links can be found in the description and the pinned comment, as always. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.